if you were going to live another 50 years and could add one additional sector or asset class to your circle of competence, which sector would it be and why?
Well, that's a very good question. You would certainly pick a sector that's large because it isn't going to make any difference to Berkshire if we get to be experts on some tiny little industry or business. I would say that it would have to be something in the, this isn't going to happen, but if I could really become expert, and I mean really expert, knowing more than almost anybody else about the subject in the tech field, I think that would be terrific. It isn't going to happen, but it's going to be a huge field. There are likely to be, a few enormous winners, a lot of disappointments, so that the ability to pick the winners, is far disproportionate to the ability to pick the winners, we'll say, among major integrated oil companies, where they're sort of all equated in price. And you're not going to have a big edge in trying to pick Chevron against Exxon, against Continental, and Occidental, and you name it. But the degree of disparity in results among larger tech companies in the future is likely to be very, very dramatic. And if I had the skills where I could pick the winners there, I would do a lot better than if I had the skills to pick the winners in the major integrated oil field.
I'm wondering about your interest in not just Apple, but all of the tech stocks like Amazon and Google, because you've avoided them, you stated in the past, because they're complicated, you should stick with something you understand. On the other hand, Amazon and Google have what you call a very durable competitive advantage. So it seems like it's a conflict, and I'm wondering if you're going to be turning the corner and going into these tech companies that seem to have no serious competition.
We don't think of whether we should be in tech companies or not, or that sort of thing. We are looking for things where we do get into the durability of the competitive advantage, and whether we think that our opinion might be better than other people's opinion in assessing the probability of the durability, so to speak. I've watched Amazon from the start, and I think what Jeff Bezos has done is something close to a miracle. And the problem is, if I think something will be a miracle, I tend not to bet on it. In fact, Bill Gates told me early on, that I think I was on AltaVista, and he suggested I turn to Google. But the trouble is, I saw that Google was skipping past AltaVista, and then I wondered if anybody could skip past Google. And I saw at Geico that we were paying a lot of money for something that cost them nothing incrementally. So we've looked at it, and I made a mistake in not being able to come to a conclusion where I really felt that at the present prices that the prospects were far better than the prices indicated. And I didn't go into Apple because it was a tech stock in the least. I mean, I went into Apple because I came to certain conclusions about both the intelligence with the capital would be employed, but more important, about the value of an ecosystem and how permanent that ecosystem could be and what the threats were to it and a whole bunch of things. And I don't think that required me to take apart an iPhone or something and figure out what all the components were or anything. It's much more the nature of consumer behavior. But the answer is, I'll miss a lot of things that I don't feel I understand well enough. And there is no penalty in investing if you don't swing a ball that's in the strike zone, as long as you swing at something at some point, and eventually that you find the pitches you like. And that's the way we'll continue to do it. We'll try to stay within our circle of competence. And Charlie?
We were not ideally located to be high-tech wizards. how many people of our age quickly mastered Google. I've been to Google headquarters. They look to me like it looks like a kindergarten.
A very rich kindergarten.
Yes.
No, it's impressive what they've done. And like I say, at Geico, we were paying them a lot of money at the time they went public, and all three of them, the main characters, Eric and Larry and Sergey, they actually came and saw me, but they were more than talking about going public and the mechanics of it and various things along that line. But it wasn't like what they were doing was a mystery to me. The mystery was how much competition would come along and how effective they would be. Those are tough decisions, but I made the wrong decision on Google and Amazon. I really consider that a miracle that you could be doing Amazon Web Services and changing retail at the same time without enormous amounts of capital, and do it with the speed and effectiveness of what Amazon has done. Charlie?
The shareholders have one thing to be thankful for. Some of the age-related stupidity at headquarters has been ameliorated by Ted and Todd joining us. We are looking at the world with the aid of some younger eyes now, and they've had a contribution
Significant.
beyond their own investments. And so you're very lucky to have them, you shareholders, because there's a lot of ignorance in the older generation that needs removal.